So also guys, welcome back to my channel. So if this is your first time tuning, please make sure don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you've done that before, thumbs up. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I was able to achieve this scene whereby I added this 3D object to real life footage and made it look like an apocalyptic scene by using After Effects in Blender. So without further ado, let's get started. So as you can see, this is the original footage here. You can see it is, so I'm just going to be in just this part, so not the whole thing. I think here, from here will be good enough. I don't really need the other thing, so I'm just going to cut this part out, and then by pressing Alt open bracket, that's how I was able to cut the beginning part out, and take it to this other part, and then press Alt close bracket, and then I just have to drag this down now. So we have this now. Footage of this to just need to get one frame of this. So I'm just going to press B and N, means beginning and end. So I'm going to click on composition, add to render queue, change it from lossless because we need to just render one frame as picture and then send this to Blender, because the reason why we're doing this is because this is not a moving shot. If it was actually a moving shot, we could actually track the scene, but since it's a static shot, we don't need to send a video for tracking. So I'm just going to click on OK. Then select where I want to put this file in. So I might just put it on my desktop, my document, to save it as military. So click on save. I'm going to click on render. So now that's on rendering. Next thing after this, open up Blender. So this is actually Blender. So you can see the whole scene is actually here. So I'm just going to select everything here and then delete everything. Then press Shift A to create a new camera, because we're going to be needing that to camera. So then click over select the camera and then click over the camera icon here and then click on this background image. Make sure you click the checkbox and then click on add image and then open. And then go over to your document where you save that export. So this is it, military. So now if I should click this camera sign, you can literally see this. So now we need to check to make sure everything is actually exactly the same as it is. You can see it's a bit dark. I'm just going to increase the opacity up to get this. So now another thing you need to do is that make sure the frame rate, you can see this is 1920 by 1080. So we need to make sure it matches same with that of Blender. So if you come here, okay, it matches. So the next thing we need to switch the mode from EV to cycles. Then change this from CPU to GPU. If you have a GPU, you really need to set it as a GPU because the stuff you're going to be doing might be a bit heavy for some of your computer. So change this, the maximum sample, I'll take this down to 200. And also the render sample, take it down to 200. So now as you've seen in the video, you see that we added two cars and a plane to the front. So yeah, we need to add in one of the cars. So for the cars, I will have to go over to Sketchfab. So type Sketchfab. So I'm just going to type on rusty cars. So there are actually different rusty cars here. So you just need to find the one we used in that video. The one particular one I used. It might sometimes it's really hard to find. So what I do to make it easier, just click on download it. I'm going to be leaving a link at the description to download this file that I was using in the video. So I type old cars. So these are basically the two cars I used in the video. So this is first one and this is the second one. So you have to click here, you just have to click this, and once it load out, make sure you click on the download. And for the download, make sure you click on GLB or GLT. Well, mostly GLB, download them as 2K. So since I already have them in my system, I won't be downloading them again. So I'm just going to start and moving on to the next phase. And the last one we're going to be downloading is the plane, the crash plane. So you have the problem plane, which is this one. So I'm going to be downloading this too. So download a file. So for this, it should be 8K or Blender file. I'm just going to download this. I'll be leaving a link in the description for you guys to also download this too. So as you can see, the both file has actually been downloaded. So the next thing we need to do is come over to Blender and then click on File, Imports, and then we downloaded a GLB file, so click on GLB and then go over to download. So we have the two cars here. We have a car bones and old car. So I'm just going to import them one after the other. As you can see, it's been imported, but it's really big, so I have to scale this down. So press S on your keyboard while it's been selected and scale down. If you go to your camera now, it looks like it's not here. Well, let's go back out. So this is actually behind the camera, so we need to take it in front of the camera so the camera can actually see it. So let me just take it here. So if I should go back to the footage, you can actually see it now, but it's really small. So I'm just going to bring it down, and then scale it up a bit. So okay, this way is good. So I'm just going to take it to the side first. It should just be here for now. So now let's import the second car. Go out to File, Import GLB file, because that's the format we downloaded. This was the one we just imported, so this is the second one. So yeah, the second one is here. I believe it's also at the top because it might be too big. So let me press the dot on my keyboard. As you can see, it's really up here and it's big. So I'm just going to scale this down and then go back to the camera. If I can see it, still not there. So let me take it a bit forward, scale down. Let me drag this down a bit. So I should go back to the camera again, so as you can see it's at the top. So here, and then scale this down a bit. And take this way to the side. So yeah. So we have the two cars now. If we should click this now, you can see this is how they are looking. They are all looking messed up, but that's not a problem. So let's do the first thing first. First things first, we need to place them basically on the floor. So they need to actually sit on the floor, having shadows and everything. So you can see we have the cars here. So the next thing we need to do is to add a floor where the cars will be sitting on, so that way they will have shadows and all. So, but basically this is not actually looking straight though. So we need to put the floor and everything to make them look straight. So I'm just going to select the rotation on this and make it look straight. This car. So I'm going to rotate it by the side, same way it was in that video you saw. So turn it like this, make it look a bit straight. So yeah, so it might look straight. Bend the side. So scale it down a bit to fit in the size, and the same thing with this other one too. But if you can notice this car, I think most parts are actually not joined together, so you might move one part and then everything gets scattered. So for this, I'll have to come out from the camera, press dot on my keyboard. So I need to join all the parts of this car together. First of all, let me hide the camera so this doesn't get press hide. So I'm just going to select all the parts, and then I'm going to press Shift, select and select one other part, and then select it again. Sorry, I select that again, and then press Ctrl J to make sure all the parts are joined together so that it doesn't get scattered, because now you can see all parts are fully joined together. So this works well now. So let me take this back up. So if you go back to the camera view now, so we have this. So as you can see, so we have this car here. So we need to adjust all the car position to make it look good. You can take the time to actually do this. So as you can see, I actually adjusted and also adjusted the camera angles to fit in after so much rotation. Yeah, and I finally got the car position. So the next thing we need to do is place in the floor so we can actually put it on the car, because if you can see this on the render view now, they're actually having no shadows or nothing. So let me just go back here. So I'm going to press Shift A and then go over to Mesh and Clean. So I need to put it in the floor. So I'm just going to scale this up to make sure it fits in. So if I should come back to the other view now, so you can actually see the both of the cars. It's a little bit above both of the cars. Let me just go on the X view. Here is down a bit underneath them. So and scale this up to fit in. So yeah, we have this now. So if we should go back to this other mode now, you can see what we have here. So basically, if we should put this now, you can see it's getting to look a bit good. If you should zoom it now, you can see it's already having shadows and beginning to start to look good. So let me just go back to where it was before. So now we need to make this plane actually look good, because we need to add shadows to this. So we cannot be leaving it to look like this. So go over to click on the plane, click on object properties, and then go down to visibility, and then click on shadow catcher. So if you click on the render view now, this is what it looks like now. Basically, one more thing is that you have to go over to the render and then go over to film and then click on transparent. So now you can actually see that, but the cars are still looking dark. So basically we need to add in an environment map to this to make this whole scene look bright. Okay, this whole thing needs to look bright. So what we have to do is come over to the world tab and then click on color. Basically, another way to actually do this, you can actually press Shift A and then press sun, and you can see it's actually getting bright. If we take this up and then increase the bright scale of a bit, and then let's say we want to increase the brightness of the light intensity, you can see how it's looking, but this is not actually looking really good. We need to get an environment HDRI that matches the scene to make it look good. So we're not going to be using the sun for this now. So I'm going to go over to Poly Heavens or HDRI Heaven. So basically you need to get one of the HDRI that match that scene, because if you should go back to the scene and look at the shadows from the scene, how it is. Let me see, go over to the shadow. You can see how light the shadow is. So we need to get an HDRI that basically match that kind of shadows, and the brightness, everything's actually looking the same way. That's one of the ways to look in. So I'm just going to be looking for one, especially one that comes with forest or a bit of grassy stuff, you know. So basically after much search, I actually got this particular one. This is the one I will be using because it actually matches a bit, because even from the shadows you can actually see how it's looking. It's actually looking really good. So so I'm going to download this. Click on download now. So since it's downloaded now, let me add this now to the environment. Once you click that, click on environment texture, and then you can see this pink stuff. It shows that it's about to get in. So click open and then look for where the files are actually downloaded to. So as you can see, it has been added. You can see how it's looking now. Everything looks so subtle. The lights are not actually harsh. Even the shadows are actually matchy a bit to the whole thing. Like everything's actually looking good, you know. So yeah. So for one more thing to make the car actually match the whole thing, one thing is for the floor texture. So if I should go back to the floor texture now, let me go back to this. You can see it's actually white, but the floor from the video is actually not that white. It's actually sandy and a bit somehow dense. So we need to make the floor look a bit sandy too. It's not like we're actually getting more stuff to it, but just like a minor tweak to it to make it look more realistic. So I'm just going to go over to this, back to this view, click on this floor, and then go over to the textures from the floor. So we need to add in a texture, or at least a color that matches the real life color. So this one. So I'm going to click on this. Just click on new, and then on the color click this, and then click on this, and then select. So sorry, let me click that again. I'm going to select this and select here. So voila, so that does the trick. So basically giving it that feel like it's actually the side. Yeah, so that should actually work. So now if it should come out now, you can see everything's actually getting in place slowly. Everything's actually getting in. So next thing we have to do is add in the plane. So the crash plane. So I'm going to click on file. I actually downloaded an FBX version of the plane. So I'm going to click on FBX. Let me just paste the link to which I downloaded. So this is it, Boeing crash whatsoever. So it's actually here, but I think it's big. Okay, you can actually see it there. So I'm just going to scale this up. Scale. I think that should be good enough. So if you take this to this side a bit and then drop it down. Sorry. Oh, we have an issue here. So so let's take this again on the back. Take it here. Take it down. As you can see, it's there. Take it down to sync a bit. So I'm just going to split my screen, so I can actually move it from here, so we can actually see what we're doing. So because if I'm very close to the car, so I'm just going to take it into the seed in same way it was on that video you watched. So take it back here, and then I'm going to scale this up now, so make it look big. I think this is big enough. So take this back a bit. Yeah, so this is actually good enough. So let me just take this back a bit. Yeah, so I think this is good enough. Yeah. So I'm going to be doing the same thing I did for that other car. So I'm going to be joining all parts of this plane together, because if you click here, you can see that the parts are actually scattered, different parts of the plane. So first of all, I'm going to select the floor and then hide the floor. Then select all parts of the plane. Let me just zoom out. And then select all parts of the plane. Press Shift, select one part, and then press Ctrl J. Yeah, I think that works now. So now we have a full plane. If I should move this up, now it moves everything. So now I'm going to bring back the plane floor. So yeah, we have the floor back now. So basically, let me attach this back. So as you can see, we actually have the crash plane and the whole thing here, but I'm not actually liking this arrangement. So I'm just going to adjust this to make it fit to look more good, as you can actually see it. So one of the things to actually make it look more realistic is by turning on the ambient occlusion, because we need to make this stuff look more real. So for that, we have to go to the shading tab of this whole car thing. So go over to the shading tab, and then if I should come here and put it on to the scene. So let's go over to this. So let's select one of the cars, which is this one. So if you're looking at the scene now, you can notice everything's actually looking good, but they're not actually looking that more realistic. Like, to make it look a little bit more realistic, we need to turn on the ambient occlusion to make it, to cast a softer shadow, and also make the car have some like depth of field to make it look good. So with that, we need to go to the shading tabs, and then if I should click on this car, make sure you select object, make sure you're on object mode, okay? Select this car. So to do that, we'll be adding three stuff. First thing we need to add is the ambient occlusion, Shift A, Shift A, and then I'm just gonna type ambient occlusion, the occlusion. You guys can actually do it faster if you guys actually get that. So I'm gonna press Shift A again, and then add in the color ramp, Then the next thing I'm going to be adding is the mix shader node. So Shift A, search and mix shader node. One thing I forgot to add is that if you try to do all this stuff and it's not working for you, go over to your edit preferences, and then under the add-on, click for search for node wrangler, and make sure this is actually checked, and then save your settings. Okay, so yeah, so once that is done, the next thing we need to do is connect the color ramp to from the ambient occlusion to the factor from the color ramp, and then the next thing is connect the color to the factor here from the mix shader. So I'm going to bring this down a bit so you guys can see. Let me bring my screen up. So also notice the car, look at the color, look at things we're about to do now. So the next thing we need to do is disconnect this color from here and then connect it to the mix shader. You can notice it's now actually dark, right? Yeah, no problem. Mind you, these two are not actually connected, so this is actually free. So we need to connect the mix shader to the output node. So if you connect this now like this to the surface, which is the output, so now we have this back. So now, but we need to make this look a bit more cool. So I'm just going to increase the darkness part a bit. Sorry, from this, drag this. You can notice what's happening. It's actually increasing a bit. So this is good. So I'm just going to take the white down a bit. So I think the white should go down just a little bit more. If I should take this down, up and down, you can see it's actually working. Let me drag this in more. So you can see it's actually affecting the whole thing. So let me just leave it, at least this will be good. So yeah, so if I should take this off occlusion, this is how it looks. Then with ambient occlusion, you can see there's a subtle change, although it's already looking real good. So I'm just going to be doing this for the rest of the object on the scene for this other car and this. So we don't have to do the whole resetting thing again. I just have to copy this whole thing just by selecting all, then press Ctrl C, copy this. And then let's say I select the plane, I just have to come here, press Ctrl V, and it's here already. So I just drag this over to this part, disconnect this from the principal BSDF and connect it here, and then connect this to the surface. So same thing to this other car, select this car, Ctrl V, and then disconnect this, add it to it, and then fix it to the surface. So basically that's just it. So now currently we have this now. So go back over to your scene. We need to turn on some stuff. You can actually see this scene is actually having some noise on the scene. So if we actually turn off the noising from the render, this thing is actually going to come up with some noise, okay? But most time I like to leave it on, preferably anyhow you want it. So this is basically it for this part now. So I'm just going to render just one frame of this by pressing F12 on my keyboard. So basically you guys can actually see that the plane is actually behind him. Normally the plane was supposed to be in front of him, so we have to render this whole thing separately. So for the first rendering, we have to select the plane and then turn it off from view and render. So press F12 on the keyboard. So as you can see now, we have the two cars here. So I'm just going to save these by going to image and then save. Probably inside the document I'll save it as so I'll just save this as car render and then click on save image. So once I save, the next thing I have to do is do the same thing for the plane and car. So for this car, select this car and then check over from this side and then turn it off. This one to the same thing, press dot on the keyboard and then turn this off. And then for the plane, you can just go back and turn on the plane, turn on the render, make sure this render is on, then press F12 on the either you press F12 on the keyboard or just press render, go over to click render image, so it renders out. So as you can see, the plane is been rendering. So once it's done rendering, now you can go over to image and then click on save as. I just name this as plane crash. Plane crash. The ones that's in, I just click save. So now that it's done saving, the next thing we need to do is to head over to Compositing, where we have to bring everything together into one clip. Okay guys, so now we need to head over to After Effects. So let's go. Okay guys, so this is our clip. So I have to import those the stuff we exported for Blender. So I'm just going to click on import or press Ctrl I, go over to documents. Remember, I will save them as plane crash and car crash. So car render and then plane crash. So select this, I select it, but then click import. So now this is the car, so I'm going to drag the car into the scene. As you can see, the two cars are in. Let me put this in full resolution so you can see them clearly. You can see that they're good looking. So the next thing to do is to bring in the plane crash. So if I bring in the plane now, oh, so it's not looking well. Let me bring this behind the car, underneath the car. So yeah, it's not looking well. But if you can check, you can see the guy is, the whole thing is just obstructing each other. You can see the guy is in, like he's behind the plane. He's not, that's not supposed to be. So the guy was supposed to be in front of the plane. So what we need to do is to rotoscope this guy out so we can place him in front of the plane. So select the clip, which is the military, and then duplicate it by pressing Ctrl D, then take this upwards and then double click on this and then select the roto brush tool and just swipe on his body. You can see this mark line that's already been drawn on his body. But now come here over, change this from standard to best. Make sure you're using roto brush 2.0 because this is the latest standard from After Effects 2020 and above. And then change this scatter to reduce scatter to 30. It makes everything, this edge not to scatter that much. So take this part out. We need to get the middle of his leg. This part is clear. So press Alt on your keyboard. First of all, press Ctrl to reduce the size of the brush. Alt, then press Alt to raise this part out. Yeah, this part is okay. So drag this down. So let me just click on play on your keyboard or spacebar whatsoever, and this should automatically do its job. This might not be perfect. This is for the sake of tutorial, so you just have to just rotate this whole thing. So it's actually doing your own roto job. So we just have to wait. So now that it's doing rotoscope, so we have to do a freeze frame on these parts. There was actually probably a fade off. So you might just wipe this whole thing out by pressing Alt on your keyboard. First of all, I have to increase the scale by pressing Ctrl and click, and Alt on the keyboard to wipe out this unnecessary part that are not good looking. See the key. So as you can see, the roto is done now, but it's not all that perfect because this video actually contained the opacity effect from the original clip where that type was given to me though. But for yours, you can make yours look perfect. So I'm just going to click on freeze frame once that the rotoscope is done. So it's going to take some time for it to finish freezing the frame. All the frames from this whole thing, that's what equals to 317 frames. So let's wait for it to finish its freeze framing. So now that that's done, so if we should come back here, you can see now he's basically in front of the plane, as you can see it. So that's exactly what we actually wanted. But if you can check on the main video, you can see that from the main video, they were actually fire actually burning some of the cars, this one, and there was smoke back. So we need to add in those assets. Mind you, everything that we'll be using in this video, we will leave a link at the description for you guys to download it. So yeah, so let's get on to it. So, but another thing I like to do first of all for this part is to select this roto and then make the feather, increase it to like 6, and then this shift edge, I'll just take it back to a bit so that it hits any of this edge that might be showing. It's all good. I might just add motion blur to it also to make it look faded, all the edges and everything, but it's all looking good though. So yeah, you actually turn on this motion blur if you actually have a shot where the character is actually working. Yeah, so that's it for now. So I'm just going to click on, let me save this now. So the next thing for us to do is to add in the fire assets. So I'm just going to import them in. So guys, I already imported the asset that we'll be needing, the smoke, fire, and some other smoke, and these are the car assets. So first things first, we need to drag in the fire. Like if you can see the original footage, it was actually one smoke and fire coming out from the back of the plane, which is actually this. I'm just going to drag this. Mind you, everything used in this video will leave at the link at the description, so it will be underneath the plane layer. So this is it. You just have to drag it and put it here, but it looks too big, so I'm just going to scale this down a bit to something else. So it's getting too small, but that's not an issue. So still looks too big, so I still have to scale this down a bit. Probably this should be enough. It's actually playing now, but it's actually going to look slow because the whole thing is actually heavy. So that's that for that part. So the next thing we will be adding to this is the fire that was actually burning in this car. So there were actually different details. There was actually one that was burning inside and also one burning outside. So but for that, we're not going to be doing much detailed stuff. You can do that on your own. So but for this, I'm just going to be putting the fire that burns around. For first thing I need to do is add in this burn marks. So I'm going to bring this here, put it in front of the car render. So let's be here. So it's, you can see it's actually big, so I have to scale this down, make this 3D, and then flip this so it fits on the floor. Bring it here. So I'm going to change this from the blending mode from normal to multiply or multiple scene. So as you can see, it's actually there. So I have to take this underneath the car render, so it looks like it's actually from underneath the car. So I have to scale this up a bit. Oh, that's too big. So scale this down, down, down. So this is good enough. Then I have to feather this down, reduce the opacity of this a bit. So yeah, this looks good now. So now everything is actually coming into play. So the next thing we need to do is bring in the fire footage that burns on the front of the car. So this is it. This is it. So I just have to drag that and bring it in front of the car layer. So if I should take it here, it's really big, so I have to scale this down. Press S on the keyboard, then scale this down. Just to scale it down a bit. So I think this is okay. So if we should play that, this part is not actually shown from the beginning. So let me drag this to where the fire is actually burning already. So okay, yeah. So as you can see, that this is how it's looking. But I also need to add another fire to the other side of the car because the car needs to be burning from two sides. So I just have to shut this down first, and then sorry, I'll have to duplicate the fire, then shut it down. Sorry, my layer is kind of looking messy. Everything's actually looking jam-packed, but trust me, you can actually get everything right. So this is the fire layer, okay? So in order for us not to get confused, let me just select every fire layer and then change the colors to red. So whenever I see the fire, we know the fire at this red layer, and then this is the car, like I actually named everything right. So for this other fire layer, I have to put this behind the car render. So as you can see, it's on the other side of the car. So it looks too big. And again, I don't want it to burn uniformly like the other one because everything looks moving simultaneously. Let me just take this a bit to some extent. And then maybe I might even change the orientation by going to transform, flip horizontally. So it's now looking, the left is now on the right side. And I'm also like to scale this down too. Sorry. Yeah, so this looks more better. As you can see, it's on the other side. So while we have one fire on this side burning, the other one will be on the other side burning. So we have like two fires actually burning. So that's all looking good. So I'm going to save this now. So the next thing we need to do is we need to add that smoke that was actually coming in
from the top of the car, so to make it look as if it was actually burning. So we have this smoke here, this one. So we just have to drag that and then bring it in front of the car. So take this and then drag it here. Scale this down because it's looking too big. Bring it. So bring it down a bit. I think this should do. So if you see that now, this is what we have. So now we need to do some blending to make this thing look all good, because it's not actually looking, it's not look like as if it's there. The smoke is still looking somehow brownish. So first things first is, you see this long shadow here from the smoke? We need to cut that out. So let me just shut down all the fire layer first, which are the two red. So now if you see this now, see where it's looking, there's a big shadow of the smoke on the fire. We don't, this part, okay, that's not that bad though. But now we need to make this look more dark. So I will select the fire layer and then add the tint effects. Make sure you go back to your effect preset layer and then type tint. So select fire layer and then double click on the tint. So now we have this on. So change this white to black, so you can see we have this black, thick black smoke. So you have to reduce the opacity down of this down to like 70. So this is good enough. So yeah, this is good enough. So it's now looking more black. You see that it's now looking more chaotic, like it's a real burning smoke. So yeah, this looks more good now than before. So if I should turn back that fire in here now, and the other one, so as you can see now, see how it's now looking more intense, more chaotic now. So yeah. So as you can see the scene now, it's now giving more cinematic vibe that this place is actually burning. So the next thing we need to do is adding some mirage to the scene, because this is actually fire. We need to see that mirage flame that's actually coming out. So that looks like liquid when fire is actually burning. So the next thing we need to do is right click and add in an adjustment layer, and then add the heat distortion effect. You might actually leave this if you don't have a heat distortion effect. Okay, I'm just adding this to it. So as you can see, everything's now looking like it's water is actually happening on the ocean. So I'll just have to change this from 10 to 8, and then heat amount, let me just take it up a bit, or reduce it down. The bias, take it down a bit, because I don't want to see all this blurry thing here that looks like whatsoever. So increase the amount back again. Okay, yeah, so I think we're good like this. So basically, if you should play it now, it makes the whole scene look like it's watery. Let me make this as a quarter resolution. So it makes the whole scene look like it's actually giving this watery vibe, like everything's actually inside the water. But we don't need the heat distortion to be on every part. We just need it to be on just this fire part. So we just have to select this pen tool, select the adjustment layer, and then max just top of the fire parts. Make sure you're on the adjustment layer, okay? So just this part. We don't need it on the whole part, and then select here. So yeah. So press F on your keyboard and then feather the max part. So basically, that was too much. Let me take this down a bit. Feather, take it down a bit, and bring this up. So looking at the preview, I discovered that this was a little bit too big, the heat distortion max. So I had to just select and scale this down a bit to just fit to some minor parts, so it doesn't look too much for the scene. So this should actually be good enough, and now I have to take this fire down to, like, let me say 10. So the last thing we need to do is to pre-compose everything to get the blendings right, because if you can see this plane from here, you can see it's actually just staying on the floor, like it's not actually looking that good here. So now is the final part to do the compositing now. So we need to get parts by part to make everything actually look fit and seem to the background and everything. So the first things first we need to do, we need to pre-compose parts by parts to make everything look good, because we have different parts. We have the roto layer, we have the cars, we have the fire, we have this plane, and we also have a smoke behind. This is like almost 4 layers of stuff. So first things first, let's start with the plane. First, let's make that plane to blend well with the ground. So what I'm going to do is this is the original footage, so I'm just going to duplicate it one more time, and then this is the plane layer. I'm going to take this in front of the plane. So basically now you cannot actually see the plane, right? That's not an issue. So I'll just select just the plane layer, solo the plane layer. So sorry, only use the video layer and the that of the plane again, so we can actually see. Okay, let me just only use the video layer. So as you can see, I still use the video layer so you can see it clearly. So now I need to trim just one part because the plane was actually looking a bit off from the ground. So I just have to select just this part here. Mind you, this is just, let me make it a solo layer so you can see what we are doing. This is just for the whole scene. So now we have this. So I'm just going to select the layer, right click, transform, time, and then freeze frame. So now, so this is just like a picture, it doesn't move. So let me turn off the layer of that stuff. So now you can see it's actually blocking the plane, as you guys can see it. So basically I just have to, let me zoom this in and select this. Probably I can just easily drag this down, but I don't want to drag that down. I want to move my max part to be here, and then bring it up to this part here, because I want the plane to look like as if it's actually sink a bit to the ground. Then press F for my keyboard on that layer and then feather it a bit, so you can see it's actually blending a bit. Yeah, somehow like this would be good enough. Yeah, so if I should zoom out now, this is how it's looking now. So compared to before, let me turn this off so you guys can see. You see how it's looking versus this now. So yeah, it's looking a bit much better than before. So I should just take this up a bit again. I might as well also reduce the feather down to make it sync more. So press F on my keyboard, take the feather down to like 12 or 14. So I think this is looking good now. So the last thing is to add in one of the other thing to do is to add in the noise to the thing, because if you can see the guy's jacket, there's actually noise on his body, so we need to add noise or grain to the scene. So for all the 3D objects added, especially the cars and plane, we're going to be adding noise to them. So let's start with the plane, because if you can look at the shots, if we should take only just the video, you can notice that part of the clip is actually blurry. So if the plane is actually there, we might not be able to see it clearly. So first thing we need to add for the plane, we need to add in noise, add noise or add grain. So that will bring them by adding grain. Select the layer, add grain, change this from preview to final output. So you can see there's actually some noise now, it's making it to match the scene, but I'm going to reduce the intensity to 0.7. So yeah, I think that's a bit good enough. So the next thing we need to add is camera lens below, because the plane is actually a bit far from the camera. So camera, to add this to it, so it's actually too blurry, so we have to take this to like 2. 2 is too blurry, so let's take this to 1. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Yeah, so the next thing we need to add, we also need to add the grain to this car here. So all I just need to do is just select the grain from the plane layer, copy this, and then paste it on the car. Where's the car render? Yes, Ctrl V, and that's it. So you can see it's actually there now on the car layer. It's on both car layer. In the just for the sake of tutorial, that's why I actually didn't do much, but for more you've seen I've done to the plane, you can actually do yours to make it look more crispy or more realistic or more blending to the environment. So guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Hopefully it was helpful. If it was, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And also you can drop a comment to the kind of videos you want us to make or tutorial on VFX. And thanks guys, hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.